The investigation didn't creep in quietly. It hit like a spotlight flipped on at midnight. Federal authorities pressed the NBA, and the NBA pressed the Lakers, demanding phones, messages, and every scrap of internal communication tied to betting activity. The NBA gambling investigation just turned its spotlight on the Lakers. League officials have formally asked the franchise to hand over cell phones, documents, and internal records as part of a federal probe into illegal betting. It's not just routine housekeeping. The Lakers' internal network is now part of a high-stakes scandal. Reports claim the league is treating this as a critical integrity breach, not a routine audit. And the moment the request landed in Los Angeles, the story shifted from league-wide scandal to a direct question about who inside the franchise had access, influence, or information worth leaking. Why the Lakers? Because the inquiry hits close to LeBron James. Sources say at least 10 team employees are being asked to surrender their devices, including longtime insiders like Mike Mancius, LeBron's personal trainer, and Randy Mims, his trusted administrator. Both have reportedly cooperated, handing over their cell phones voluntarily. Charges have been brought against them, or LeBron, but their proximity to a central figure in the controversy raises red flags. That central figure is Damon Jones, a former NBA player and coach who had close, unofficial access to the Lakers. He is accused of selling confidential injury information about key Lakers players to gamblers, intelligence that may have influenced large bets. It circles back to proximity. The people closest to LeBron became part of the evidence sweep. Mike Mancius, the trainer who's been by his side for years. Randy Mims, the longtime fixer inside the building. Both were asked for their phones. Both complied. And that alone pushed the investigation straight into the Lakers' private ecosystem. But that's not all. Sources say the league targeted at least 10 employees, a number big enough to suggest this wasn't a casual inquiry. It was a search for patterns, contacts, timelines, any signal that insider details might have slipped from the team's inner circle into the wrong hands. Then it got even wilder. The staff being checked aren't fringe workers. They're trusted operators with access to injuries, schedules, and day-to-day conversations people assume stay in-house. Even without accusations against LeBron, the fact that his closest associates are under scrutiny sends the story into a different orbit. According to prosecutors, on February 9, 2023, Jones learned privately that a top player wouldn't play, and he urged bettors to place a big bet on the opponents. A year later, in early 2024, he allegedly shared info again, this time about a different player's injury, referred to in the indictment as Player 4. The NBA's response has been swift. The league has retained law firm Wachtell, Lipton, Rosen & Katz to run an independent internal investigation. Damon Jones is the hinge the whole scandal swings. He wasn't just some distant figure. He had informal reach, old relationships, and enough credibility to make his whispers sound like facts. Prosecutors say he weaponized that access. They claim he funneled non-public injury details to bettors who were hungry for any edge they couldn't get from public reports. But that's not all. The timeline makes it worse. One incident centers on a February game where Jones allegedly learned a key Lakers player wouldn't suit up. Instead of keeping it quiet, he reportedly urged certain gamblers to go big. The bet hit. The money moved. And investigators started tracing where that intel came from. Then it got even wilder. A second leak, tied to another injured player months later, followed the same pattern. Private detail, sudden betting shift, suspicious accuracy. Each breadcrumb pushed investigators closer to the Lakers' orbit, and Jones became the connecting thread between insider access and outside money. They're the ones requesting phones, texts, and documents, a broad, aggressive sweep. According to the NBA, asking staff to preserve records is standard practice in investigations of this scale. But the timing is hardly coincidental. Congressional scrutiny over the scandal is mounting, and the league is under pressure to clean house. This isn't an isolated Lakers issue. The probe spans multiple teams. Already, federal indictments have been handed down in related gambling schemes. Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier, for instance, is charged. And former Blazers coach Chauncey Billups is also tied to the broader investigation. The league moved fast because the stakes weren't just financial. They were existential. The NBA locked in a heavyweight law firm to run the internal sweep, pulling in Wachtell, Lipton, Rosen & Katz to comb through messages, timestamps, and device histories. Their job isn't subtle. It's an extraction. If a conversation exists, they want it preserved. If a file was deleted, they want to know when and why. But that's not all. The NBA framed the phone and document grab as standard procedure. Yet the volume and urgency tell a different story. Congress has been breathing down the league's neck over betting integrity, and this probe turned into the moment the NBA had to prove it wasn't asleep at the wheel. Then it got even wilder. Teams weren't just told to cooperate, they were told to freeze everything. No wiped devices. No accidental loss of data. No internal cleanups. It created a league-wide lockdown, and the Lakers felt the pressure more than most because their inner circle sat closest to the fire. On top of that, sources suggest the NBA is planning to tighten injury reporting rules, a possible structural reform born out of scandal. For the Lakers, the stakes are not just legal, they're reputational. Even without direct accusations against LeBron or his inner circle, the optics are brutal. His closest confidants are under investigation. Trust within the organization could be fractured. And if insider information was indeed trafficked, the integrity of the game itself is on the line. The fallout didn't stop at the Lakers' door. This investigation stretched across the league like a crack running through glass. Multiple franchises were tapped for devices, staff lists, and injury report histories, signaling that the problem wasn't isolated, it was systemic. And once federal indictments started dropping elsewhere, the picture got darker. But that's not all. Names tied to separate betting schemes. Terry Rozier, Chauncey Billups, and others showed how deep the gambling shadow had grown. Different cases, different angles, but the same core issue. Insider information moving faster than the league could control it. Then it got even wilder. Sources say the NBA is considering a full overhaul of its injury reporting rules. Tighter disclosures. Less wiggle room. More surveillance of who knows what and when. It's the kind of reform you only see when the league realizes the scandal isn't a leak. It's a structural flaw. And the Lakers just happen to be sitting at the center of the most explosive chapter. Rumors swirl in fan circles. Some believe LeBron may have known more than he's admitted, that his camp had deeper ties to the betting ring than publicly acknowledged. Others argue he's being unfairly dragged in by association. It's unverified, but the whispers are getting louder. Investigators could dig into other senior staff, too, not just Mancius and Mims. The danger isn't just legal exposure. It's the stain that lingers even if everyone walks away clean. The Lakers built their brand on control, polish, and airtight inner circle loyalty. Now that same inner circle is being dissected by investigators who want to know how far insider info traveled and who might have benefited. The optics alone cut deep. But that's not all. When LeBron's closest associates get pulled into an integrity probe, the narrative shifts instantly. Fans start connecting dots that may not even exist. Critics frame it as a cultural problem. And every headline drags the franchise into a space where trust erodes faster than facts can clarify anything. Then it got even wilder. Even without a single charge, the implication that someone inside the building could have leaked privileged injury details threatens the core promise of competition. If bettors got tipped, even once, the league's entire structure of fairness cracks. And the Lakers are now the face of that uncomfortable question. Who knew what, and who talked when they shouldn't have? There's a wild card too. Even if no one ends up criminally charged, the NBA could still impose fines, suspensions, or policy changes, especially if internal protocols were bypassed. Some fans think LeBron's camp might have sensed something was off long before the story broke, though there's zero confirmed evidence. Others claim the circle around him was too connected, too informed, and too plugged into day-to-day injury chatter for investigators to ignore. It's speculation, but the kind that sticks. But that's not all. Reports suggest investigators may widen the net beyond the initial 10 staffers, looking at senior personnel who had indirect access to medical updates or player availability notes. Nothing official, but the whispers say the next wave of phones requested could hit departments no one expected. Then it got even wilder. Quiet talk around the league hints at a potential fallout scenario where the NBA issues penalties even without criminal findings. Fines for protocol failures, suspensions for mishandled information, or a full rewrite of how teams communicate injuries internally. It's the version of the story where the scandal doesn't end with guilt or innocence, but with the league rewriting its rulebook because too many gray zones finally snapped. In the end, this isn't just a gambling scandal. It's a reckoning. The Lakers' most trusted people are being questioned. The league is facing a raw moment of truth. And whether innocence or guilt comes out on top, nothing will be the same. The Lakers aren't just a team under scrutiny. They're a case study in how trust and proximity can become liabilities. Their most loyal insiders are on record, devices seized, messages examined, all while the league and federal investigators map every possible connection. But that's not all. The story isn't waiting for verdicts or charges. The mere act of being investigated reshapes perception. Fans, rivals, and analysts now measure every move against the backdrop of a gambling probe, coloring what was once routine with suspicion. Then it got even wilder. The scandal forces the NBA to confront structural weaknesses: injury reporting, staff oversight, and internal access. Whether anyone is found guilty or not, the league's approach to integrity is changing forever. The Lakers, once untouchable in reputation and influence, are now a cautionary tale of proximity, privilege, and the invisible price of insider access. The Lakers' inner circle is under the microscope, and the league's integrity is on the line. Whether innocence or scandal comes out on top, the NBA will never be the same. Don't miss a single update. Hit subscribe, like, and share to stay on top of every explosive reveal.